everybody, Russian Boy. Sorry if you hear the fan behind me, but that's going to be going for some time because the box fan is about down on the floor behind me because I don't have any AC and the rest of the house is cool, so I'm pulling that cool air from under the door into the fan and blowing it in here. I'm using ice bottles to chill the air a little bit as I blow it, as I pull it further, as I pull it through and blow it into here, you know. Now, that's going to be the case for some time. Anyways, hopefully it won't distract you from the combo I'm about to start. This is episode 3 of Hoppe for Dumbasses. Covenant communities. A covenant is basically a formal agreement or promise, usually inclined in a contract or deed, to do or not do a particular act. A compact or stipulation made in writing by parole that, if validly reached, is enforceable by the communities and courts. In other words, ideally in this case, private law and communal law. There's so-called lib left. A lot of the focus so-called lib lefts are just crypto tankies, and I swear on that because the way they argue. And you know what? I'm going to give you a little cheat. When I do these Hoppe videos, I'm going to give you lib leftists that actually are liberty loving left, that want to justify your leftist solely on liberty. I'm going to give you some cheat sheets, and yeah. You'll get there if you got. I know there's a few of you that are smart enough cookies to understand what I have to say. You're smart enough cookies to actually get it. I have faith in you. There are numerous types of covenants, like absolute covenants, active covenants, affirmative covenants, restrictive covenants, express covenants, implied covenants, real covenants, personal covenants, and many, many, many others. The categorization of a covenant depends on what the covenant requires parties to do and the means by which a covenant is formed. So imagine a community you contractually sign into and express your private property rights within, as long as you follow the covenant terms. Gated communities, homeowners associations, and many other examples like besides these exist. Friendships are a form of covenant community. The friendships, terms, and obligations of what a good friend is are the covenant stipulation. Marriage is supposed to be a covenantal community between partners where a woman shares access to her reproductive ability and a man in turn shares his sexual ability and labor productivity as a mutual exchange. Share access to. Don't get me started on how leftism is, for the most part, raped that one sideways. Don't get me started. We got the honey badgers and pretty much the entirety of the MRA sphere, and especially the libertarian MRA overlap niche areas that can go into that already enough as it is. And they comprise of both sexes, thank God. Technically, even a union of egoists is a covenantal community of sorts, albeit the loosest one you could ever form, but it technically is. Now I could go on. I can go on into a lot of things. I can go on into discussing a lot of the Marxist, the feminist, why anarcho-feminism is an oxymoron because of the inherent statism feminism always was been built off of, and the hedonistic, if not outright pedophilic, of the precursors of the modern leftists, like that were in the utopian socialism collective, like especially Charles Fourier. I think Miss Aiden Paladin made a couple of great videos to do that for me. If I wanted to go cussing further about that, but that's not the point here of this video. Now, is it? In order to sell something, folks, you got to remember you must first own it yourself, right? You must, and upon either selling it, trading it, sharing access to it, or establishing co-ownership, you are agreeing to either sell, again, either sell, trade, barter, establish co-ownership, or share access to something that you own, okay? And I'm not sorry to say this either, but these takes either, but I could see to Mr. Stefan Kinsella's response to Mr. Roger T. Long's Easy Rider page. It's in the actual back and forth text exchange that they had. And I don't consider Madonna to be a rights problem. Same with enclosure. For some of the same reasons Kinsella mentioned of others. Now, at worst, you could consider those technical problems, or technological problems, if anything. If you want to share a right to roam with someone on someone else's property, get a right-of-way contract agreement. That's how that works in the real world. That's what I talk about, and that's what the Hoppian.org article that I'm going to link below also goes into. Now, it's been a little while since it was said, but this Q&A was done, but I still disagree with Mr. Shane Killing's answer to my friend Executioner's Q&A question on his Patreon, because the covenant communities don't do made up laws. They're based on voluntary, mutually agreed upon contracts, or it wouldn't be a fucking covenant. If you sell your property in the CC, the other person who wants to buy it has to look at the contractual laws of the covenant-based community. The other areas of who, and look at every area of the law possible. The other person who wants to buy it also has to look at the contractual laws of the CC to see if they want to be part of the damn thing or not. This is what they do in gated communities and HOAs all the fucking time. If they do not want to be part of the CC, they don't have to buy it, or the CC can dissociate the property from it, or do something else, or come up with some other kind of solution. There are a multitude of possible ways that could be addressed his so-called issue. Hoppe nor anyone in the genuine Hoppians have ever advocated kicking out people in a covenant community based on being a bad neighbor. Now, Gunslinger Zach said before as well. Has also said this before. The bad neighbor acts are defined in the initial covenantal contracts, or contract if you want to keep it singular. And I want to clarify that, just like he did in in Discord servers. He's mentioned this before. Now, I have heard some of this stuff that I'm about to bring up now, but I would consider largely a non-issue by a friend who is unironically an anarcho-technocratic mutualist. But he is the type who would not infringe on private property and cappies. He's based, so he's told me, and I hope that's still true, he was pretty based like that. And I'm referring to Cyan, the anarcho-technocrat, Prudonian anarcho-technocrat. The only way you could group together as an anarchist, by the way, in this case, is a stateless, completely stateless society, either as a family unit, community, or a covenant private law community, or a lefty flavor of commune. Damn, it was in my eye. It was about to give me trouble. Ooh. Excuse me. So, either of these you're likely to have to sign up and join. Sign up for the ability to opt out of as well, unless you are in a covenant community that's got individuals trying to turn it to a state. And this was the issue he brought up, what he considered an issue if they tried to turn it to state. Now, I'm going to go into that in episode 3, part 2, and I will see you people later.